This is really, really serious. The great financial reset is here. And I know everybody wants to find out what cryptocurrencies to invest in, how to get rich quick. But I think it's really important if you're the head of the household to get very, very serious on what I'm about to talk about. Now, there's good news and there's bad news, and there's nothing to fear with this. This happens in history over and over and over again. In today's video and tomorrow's video, I'm going to be breaking down in a deeper level what is actually happening. On my channel, I want to keep you calm, I want to keep you stoic, and I want to share with you the good news. The good news is the working class and middle class have the opportunity to study this and be on the right side of the coin this time. Before, they had us drunk in the Colosseum, the Trojan horse came in, and we had no idea what was going on. But now, because of the era of authenticity, the internet, TikTok, Instagram, especially Twitter has been absolutely amazing, formerly Twitter, X now, where we can speak our truth and we can do our own research and we can look to feel the discernment. So the great financial reset is here, and here's why. Facts, figures, numbers, logic. Now I'm going to break down why I believe XRP and Bitcoin will be number one and number two. But again, I don't share with you anything I am not doing myself or I'm part of. Okay. Very important. Everything I talk about is something I'm actually doing myself. The key to understand is inflationary and deflationary. Okay. The only option they have right now in a society, America, where the dollar's collapsed 97% and has 3% purchasing power, and it's still the strongest currency in the world. When you have more debt than you have income, we have way more debt than we have income. We don't collect enough in taxes to pay the interest on our debt. Think about that for just a moment. We borrow from other countries to pay for critical services. The only option they have is to print more money and lower rates. That is going to cause inflation. There'll be a temporary fix, okay? After all these trade wars settle down, everything starts to calm down, they are going to lower interest rates, they're going to print. Hence why BlackRock, MicroStrategies, you got Howard Lutnick, who is Cantor, right? That's linking up with SoftBank, is all in on Bitcoin, which we're going to hear about that. Hence why XRP and Ripple, the company, beat the SEC, the new infrastructure of the financial system. We're moving from inflationary, the US dollar, where every year you get poorer, okay, because it has no backing to it, to a deflationary asset and eventually an asset backed currency. So, like everything, you're just going to see a big wave of energy, right? We saw about 3 months of sideways action. We're probably going to see some relief going into May. I'm hoping to see some relief in May. When they lower interest rates and they start printing more money, just instinctively, what happens is you become poor. Your dollar becomes less valuable if you're storing your money in debt-based systems. America is all debt. The world is all debt. Money just moves back and forth. So what I do is I transmute my deflationary US dollar when I get paid in someone else's debt, and I transmute it into things that compound, grow, that I can leverage to multiply, and that are deflationary with a fixed supply. And what that's doing is it's protecting my family, because by 2030, there's going to be very, very wealthy and there's going to be the working class. There's going to be no middle class. Okay. The next two videos I'm going to break down is I'm going to start to break down those facts, figures, numbers, logic, so you can understand what is actually happening and start to make those moves for your family. So the first video we're going to watch is around Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse believes that XRP will replace the outdated SWIFT system, offering faster, cheaper, and more reliable global payments. Now remember, SWIFT is just a messaging system. The whole system is changing.
Markets like Japan, I think, are still unlocking. The market opportunity here is massive. You have trillions of dollars flowing cross-border globally. It's still largely dominated by the SWIFT network, if you will. And that's architecture. That's a technology architecture that's developed 50 years ago. There's an opportunity to modernize.
Key, 50 years, remember? The Jubilee debt reset. The Jubilee ended in 2017. We're going to hear Howard Lutnick talk about how he started to be, he started to recognize Bitcoin in 2017. 2017 was a critical year in the transformation.
That takes time, particularly when you have a government in the U.S. kind of combating that innovation. But that's changing now. The Trump effect, if you will, is profound. You're seeing that in asset prices, but you're also going to see that in the adoption of these technologies.
Yeah, and I think so. When you're looking at the growth story then of Ripple, does it still come from overseas? Or are you expecting a change in terms of domestic interest in Ripple?
Well, we're definitely already seeing a change in the domestic interest. These 6 weeks after President Trump was elected, we signed more deals in the United States than we had in the previous 6 months. So these are very innovative technologies. I think they're going to play out over 10, even 20 years in terms of how they integrate and rewire the financial infrastructure of the United States. That's across payments. That's across even the settlement of maybe real estate transactions, securities transactions. So I think we're going to see this play out over a long arc. But
okay, I've been talking to you guys about 6 years. He said 10 years. So about 6 to 10 years going into 2030, which will be 6 years, you're going to see an infrastructural change in your financial system. That's how we make our proper investments, not based on hype, not based on meme coins, not based on get rich quick, fundamental understanding of what you believe is going to be the infrastructural change. So we're going to listen to Michael Saylor. He said, if people knew what I know, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow.
If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel and how your viewers would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes away and people start to agree with you.
Let that sink in, guys. Big news, ProShares Trust gears up for XRP ETF, targeting a public launch on April 30th. That's just right around the corner. Now I'm going to take you a little bit further. This is Danielle Kambon. I really, really like her stuff. She's now with ITM. I highly recommend you go watch this interview. This is a 10 trillion money print. Feds will plan to dwarf Bernanke era. And this gentleman talks about, I'm going to share with you his book in just a moment. I highly recommend you read it, but he's going to talk about Bitcoin. Guys, Bitcoin, I believe, was always the answer for this monetary system. I don't think it's by chance. It was created in 2009 by some pseudonymous person right after the biggest financial collapse in history in America. Banks were all over leveraged. It was embarrassing for America. BlackRock stepped in to balance out the Federal Reserve in 2009, and they stepped in to balance the government, the Federal Reserve, they were tapped by the Federal Reserve in 2020, and now they're the largest holder in Bitcoin.
Flake falls, and that's it, and it triggers it, and boom, the whole thing resets. And that's kind of, it feels to me like that's kind of where we are.
He's talking about the whole monetary reset.
What role does Bitcoin play for you in this equation?
Yeah, so as you guys all know, I'm a lover of Bitcoin as well as gold. I love them both. I hate it when people in both camps argue with each other, because they're both right for different reasons. Gold is right because it's 5,000-year-old money. It's analog. It can't be debated, can't be debased other than just what comes out of the ground, etc. And so it's fantastic. And I own a lot of gold, and all my older clients own gold because it's less volatile and it's the thing that protects them. Bitcoin is a emerging form of sound money. It's an emerging monetary technology. They developed something called digital scarcity, which no one thought they could do. And I believe it's sound enough to eventually qualify as being a form of digital gold. And because it's being adopted, they both enjoy the fact that governments are printing money, and so therefore they're getting more valuable. In the case of Bitcoin, it also enjoys the fact that we live in a digital world, and adoption is growing. So right now, very few people own Bitcoin, but I think as time goes by, just as in the beginning, very few people use the internet, and then we all use the internet.
That's what's happening, guys. There's not some big grand conspiracy going on. I know there is a whole system, which I'm going to share with you tomorrow in an interview that you got to watch on Tucker Carlson's channel, around this lady. She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. It's the stuff I've been talking about. This is a spiritual battle. There's a spiritual change. There's a financial change. Bible sales are through the roof. Christ is king. Christ is back. There is a systematic change happening where we're moving from a system that is archaic, it is unethical, it is greedy, to an authentic, connected, even playing field. That's what's happening. Okay. Now we're going to listen to Howard Lutnick. Remember, he's the right-hand person I showed you yesterday. If you haven't watched the video, watch the video from yesterday. Howard Lutnick, who is the Commerce Secretary for America, the right-hand man for Trump, who is going to be a billionaire this year when Bitcoin appreciates. And he's also part of Cantor, where his son runs Cantor, which gives loans to crypto companies. And they just teamed up with SoftBank to compete with Michael Saylor's Bitcoin strategic treasury.
Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Secretary Lutnick, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us here today. Super excited to dive in. We've had this incredible day here around the White House of new media coming and talking with people like yourself. It's been an incredible experience thus far. And a lot of us seem to have absorbed this energy of what this first 100 days have been like for the Trump administration. So please take us behind the scenes a little bit. What has this first 100 days been like?
Well, it's been frenetic because the president makes news every day. I mean, literally every day. I mean, have you ever seen anything more comfortable and more extraordinary than the president of the United States sitting behind his desk, just bring in the press. Let's just talk to the press. Let's answer questions like every day. I mean, it's the most impressive thing you've ever seen.
Okay.
And it's so much fun, really. And we've accomplished, I mean, so much.
Let's dive in a little bit further there. So I know that you've personally talked about your task of bringing in, I think, $1 trillion to the United States. I'm wondering if Bitcoin fits into that equation at all in your mind, and whether there's any sort of maybe synergies with the Treasury, with Percent, with Saks that would help facilitate something like that, where Bitcoin would be part of those.
This is your White House. Listen.
Calculations.
Well, having David Sachs in the government with me is the best, because really you have 3 amazing proponents for Bitcoin in the government. Of course, led by the number 1, which is Donald Trump, of course. And you have David Sachs and myself. So for a long time, we've been Bitcoin proponents, right? Way before we're in the government. We're not newfound lovers, right? This is an old love affair for us.
Yeah.
So
this is really important, guys. They're giving you the hints of what happened. He started to switch in 2017. Listen, that's when the 50-year jubilee ended, the debt reset biblically.
So we can talk about it. We think about it together. And I think that's why we've been able to deliver so quickly on the campaign promises that Donald Trump said. He said he'd have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I mean, think of how quickly David Sachs and I were able to help the president deliver on his promise and deliver that Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Yeah, appreciate that. One thing, if you don't mind touching on your Bitcoin story, when did you personally find Bitcoin? I know that you're a huge proponent of it. And as you just said, you're not coming to this to capitalize on Bitcoin being a hot topic at the moment. You are an actual believer. When did that start for you?
2017.
Okay.
Started reading about it, trying to understand it. You know, people always started with, you should learn blockchain, right? Remember the whole blockchain this and blockchain that.
Yep.
And so I started looking at and trying to understand blockchain technology and how that would impact financial services and things like that. But then, of course, then I started saying, well, is it really blockchain I should be thinking about, or should I be thinking about Bitcoin? And then the attributes of Bitcoin, the fundamental attributes, 21 million, there aren't going to be any more. There's no one messing with the software. There's no one you can fix it or change it. It's just a rare entity. And so that rarity is what creates its value. And so I played with it a little bit, bought a little bit, then bought a little bit more. And then I started really learning about the whole ecosystem. And then my firm I brought my firm into the market, try to be an advisor, analysts, cover it, talk about it. So I think it was just until 2020. And then 2020, we went all in with it in every way. And, you know, I guess that's early. In 2025 talk, it's pretty early.
I think we're all early. I think.
Okay. Are you seeing the patterns, family? Okay. It's just a change. That's what it is. And I just hope to keep you calm in this. So all I did was in 2020, I have a deep banking background. You know, I understand how to scale banks. I was in the banking system, went to CBA Executive Banking School, and my understanding of banks and Nostro Vostro, I started to see XRP as an opportunity. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Like, this is a systematic or technology that could help in the systematic change. So there was no emotion in it. I was like, this is it. And then usually when the SEC sues a company, they become one of the largest companies. They sued Ripple. I was like, there's something going on here. And I held the line, and obviously SEC, Ripple beat the SEC. And now Brad Garlinghouse is hanging out with Trump. Michael Saylor's hanging out with Trump. You got David Sachs, he just talked about, huge proponent of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. You got Bessenet, huge proponent of Bitcoin. You got Howard Lutnick, who is the Commerce Secretary, who is running the Sovereign Wealth Fund, who's a proponent of Bitcoin. Trump is going to make us the Bitcoin capital of the world. Now, Bitcoin is the 60% of the market, okay? So what I do is I'm trusting my intuition on what's happening, okay? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, but I was right from 2020 to 2025, which made us millionaire investors in crypto. And also, I paid attention to what was happening with this inflationary dollar that was making me poor. And I transmuted every bit of money that I made by creating cash generating assets into deflationary assets, into insurance that I could leverage. And I just kept pouring back into creating cash flow. You don't need cash. Cash is not king. You need cash flow. So when the cash comes in, it's debt. You're literally getting paid in someone else's debt. You want to take that debt and you want to transmute it into something compounds that grows, or you can leverage tax-free to buy another asset, not a bigger house, not fancy cars, not fancy watches. The key to freedom is protection, cash flow, leverage, things that you can create a family bank for your family. Okay. So we have this beautiful opportunity where you can get into these innovative technologies and pick a few of the right ones. You have massive price appreciation, and that's where the game starts for you and your family, right? You have to transmute it, richest man in Babylon, into something that compounds, grows, you can leverage. So on one side, I have my Bitcoin bank. I buy Bitcoin I just did a video on my TikTok or Instagram. It's explaining exactly daily. I buy Bitcoin and XRP. Okay. Instead of going to buy coffee or Starbucks, simple stuff like that, I buy Bitcoin and XRP every single day. It's called dollar cost average. It automatically comes out of my account. That will always happen until I pass away. Okay. So daily I buy Bitcoin and XRP. So every day I'm giving myself a pay raise. Okay. Every Wednesday and Friday. So the weekly part, when I get paid by my companies, I transmute. The first thing I do is I save and then I spend. I look at the markets. Do I need to buy more XRP, Bitcoin, or my favorite cryptos? Is the market down? Is it up? I also transmute it into a dividend ETF strategy. Every week I give myself a pay raise. I'm creating cash flow. With that cash flow monthly, I'm transmuting it back into a deflationary asset, Bitcoin and XRP. Okay. And what I do is with the cash generating assets, I have a monthly thing. So there's daily is buying daily cryptocurrency for myself. Okay. Wednesday and Friday, I'm giving myself a pay raise by dividend ETF strategies. Monthly, when that money comes in, I transmute it back into a deflationary asset. That creates my Bitcoin bank that I can leverage. I'm holding it forever. Okay. Then monthly, I have money going into my insurance premium. So every month, every week, our family bank gets bigger and bigger. So every day, my Bitcoin family bank gets bigger. Every month, our insurance bank gets bigger. So we have our infinity banking concept on this side, the family bank on insurance. We have death benefits for protection. We have cash value life insurance. It's compounding. We can borrow tax-free at our retirement age. And I can borrow against the cash value, the insurance company, not my cash, the insurance company, to buy more cash generating assets. And I can do the same thing on this side for Bitcoin, just like I did. I borrowed against my Bitcoin, bought my general agency, my insurance firm, and that's paying it back for the next 12 months. And then 100% LTV is back. And now I have a cash generating asset and my bank is whole again. Do you see? I'm just explaining this to you guys because that's what I studied. I was like, wait a minute, this is unnatural from 2020 to 2022 to make that much money in a short amount of time. So I did the right thing. I took the money and I built it so we could build freedom, so we could build safety, so we could build protection for our ecosystem. Right. And so now I'm obsessed with creating cash flow. I'm obsessed with storing in deflationary assets like Bitcoin and XRP. And it's worked really well for me. I mean, you can do gold, you can do silver. Now I'm going to be getting into real estate, right? For tax liabilities. And now I'll have real estate that's appreciating every time a renter pays the payment. I have monthly going into my insurance policies every month. The family bank's getting bigger. Bitcoin, and XRP. So do you see what I'm saying? So I'm transmuting the debt-based dollar into things that grow every single month. And then eventually that compounds every 7 years at 10%, money doubles. I wish I would have learned this a long time ago. I learned all this at 43 years old. I'm 49 now. But in short 5 years, by just getting really disciplined, getting really consistent, understanding financial literacy and how the 1% stay the 1%, I've been able to create $1 million portfolio. I've been able to create, $1 million ecosystems outside. But the key factor is the foundation, the spiritual part of it. So it's kingdom building. It's God, family, protect your ecosystem at all costs, and stay out of other men and women's business too busy working on yours. It's all about kingdom building. Okay. Protection, generational. And that's the key to this. So I hope that helps. I want to share with you our ecosystem. So down below, over here, down below in the description of this YouTube video or my social media platform, you click the link. We do not invest people's crypto. We don't have a trading platform. I'm not DMing you about your crypto. QFS accounts are a scam. These are my ecosystems here. We have a free book for you, the Warrior's Guide, everything I just went over. We have the Coach JV Academy. We helped 11,000 people learn how to fish, subconscious mind programming, goal setting, vision creation, market calls, community calls, live with my team. I have a live workshop where you can work live with me for 4 weeks, and I take you through the whole ecosystem, teaching you how to fish. I don't give you a fish. We don't tell you what to invest, and I show you why I do things, the patterns, financial literacy, financial education, cash flow, all these different things. You can also set up insurance, an appointment with my insurance team. I own Freedom Insurance. It's my own general agency where we have people around cash value life insurance. We can help you move old 401ks. We can help you secure your cash. We can help teach you how to create the infinity banking concept, cash value life insurance. If you need any support with that, it's a free consultation with my team. So we got everything you need to be successful. We're here to support you. And also on my YouTube channel, a completely free section where I break down everything I'm doing in detail. I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Love you guys.